Here with Scotty Scoop, the Giggler, and Danny Patron. I'm Logan, and we are in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just talking about some of our favorite stuff, something that has been on the horizon for a long time. Phase 5. Here we go. Holy cow. Phase 4 just ended with, really, I guess technically, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Yeah.
Also, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And here we are in February of 2023 with a bust-out film, the third of a trilogy, character that's been sprinkled all throughout the MCU, a cast that's also been sprinkled throughout the MCU. We're talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quatumania, spoiler alert, right now. That's right. So excited to break into this movie with you guys. This has been one that I'm really excited to nerd out about. We've all seen this just recently. It just opened just before the weekend. So a real recent watch, super fresh, and want to get right into the stuff that you care about first. How's this thing doing, and what are we talking about at all? The synopsis from online. Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, explore the quantum realm, where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. Director Peyton Reed is here. Writers Jeff Loveless, Jack Kirby. Stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jonathan Majors, Catherine Newton, and of course produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Disney Motion Pictures. This movie had a budget of $200 million. Opening weekend doing okay at $104 million. This was from a couple days ago. Domestic box office at $81.6 million. So might want to pull in some updated numbers. Maybe we can bring it in before it's been a couple of days. So maybe we'll bring that in before we wrap up today. Some of the things I saw that I actually online about ticket sales, I thought, one of the questions is how's the movie business doing, and how's the theater business happening? How are things going? And according to IMDb, it looks like notably 28% of the ticket buyers opted for premium format theaters, paying an average of $4 or $5 more per ticket. So, that's a sign that people are willing to get to the big screen to see some of these, especially these epic, visually stunning movies like this one. And if you're wondering how Quantumania, the Ant-Man 3 did compared to, say, the first Ant-Man film, it looks like this movie made about double what its predecessor made in 2015. And this is the 31st consecutive MCU to debut a number one at the domestic box office. The 31st MCU movie to be the first in the box office.
I think that'll keep going for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think that's slowing down anytime soon. All right, before we get into the story, I'd like to get this out of the way too, just to knock it out. Rotten Tomatoes, not looking too good. 47%.
It's real low.
46% on Metacritic, 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, but 85% of Google users do like this movie. Before we sit down, we get into story mode. We try out our new format of getting through the story pretty quickly. Always like to do a gut check and really get the experience of you guys seeing this movie. When you're sitting down in the theater for Ant-Man, what was this movie to you? In 1 minute or less. We'll start with you, Giggler. When did you see it? How did you see it? How was your viewing experience? And going into it, what was your hype like?
Opening Thursday, always. I can't wait any longer.
That self-control thing.
Immediately to IMAX. Yeah, I went for the premium always too. I mean, there's no, you can't spare expense for the opening of Phase 5 is this. I think I'll definitely re-see this in 3D though next time around. That seems entertaining. Entering the quantum realm myself, feeling like I'm really there. Let's do that.
And after your experience with Avatar: The Way of Water, you're like, but give me those 3D glasses again.
Yeah, I'd be down. But
all right,
for sure. I mean, it was. Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Scotty Scoop, tell us about your experience. How was it? What theater did you go to?
I went to the Marcus in the Valley.
Okay.
Saw it on the Super Screen DLX. Not quite an IMAX, but it's pretty large. Theater was full. Saw it, and this was at 11 a.m. on a Sunday.
The best.
So,
wow.
Great experience. A cautionary tale. Seeing a trailer and basing everything you think you know off the trailer. I had a real fun time.
Very good.
Yeah.
Danny P, how about you?
Went to an AMC here, digital. It went on Monday, so there was a lot of kids off on that day. So
you hated it.
I was getting ready to tell a couple of them to shut the heck up, but this one kid just kept everything he was like verbally reacting to, and I'm like, come on, man, we're all in this movie together. Like,
execute
shut
Order
up.
66.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to go Anakin, kill some younglings.
The theater.
But my difficulty right now is AMC starting. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they're starting to do, you pay different prices based on the seat. So the better located seats are going to be more expensive, and the ones you would never buy anyway are going to be less expensive or just normal price. So I don't know. I've been an A-list Stubs member for a while because it's got some good perks, but we'll have to evaluate that as things change. But really excited going in. We'll talk about how I felt going out. But Avatar ruined special effects for me, I'm afraid. So I'll share when we talk more about our opinions. But something about that movie.
Did AMC ever get you, accommodations for their flub when you saw Avatar 2?
They did not.
So
between both of these things, might be looking elsewhere. But they got the IMAX, and they got the special digital with the surround sound that basically makes the seat shake.
Yep.
So
Marcus Theaters got IMAX. I don't know if they have them in Texas.
They don't have them here. That's the problem. You gotta go like a studio movie grill or a what's the other one you can eat at that people like, a little more hipsterish.
We got the Alamo here.
We got the Alamo now. Yeah,
Alamo Draft House.
But like both of those are like old theaters that went out of business here that then they bought and like made like a little bit nicer, but still the like screens aren't as big. Like I don't know. I'm with you guys. Like these movies I like to see on as big a screen as I can get, and that's not even an option outside of going to some of these big AMC ones. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I totally agree. I feel like sometimes I'll skimp on the IMAX, and then as soon as I get there, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, do the IMAX. It's double the screen essentially.
Yeah, if I'm going to like a rom-com or something, sure, I'll go. I don't care how big the screen is.
Well,
but
you got a lot more of those in your future now. You got a lot more of those.
Oh, that's okay.
All right,
not based on the fact that Hollywood doesn't really make them much anymore. So
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Like,
they've been taking.
They go straight to Netflix or Hulu or Amazon.
Yeah,
so
that category's taken a hit over the years.
Yeah.
Well, a category that hasn't taken a hit are the superhero films. Why don't we talk about this one? You guys ready to just get into the story?
Let's go.
It's story time. Here comes your story music. Story time.
Just gets better and better.
With Logan Levi Janis.
All right, guys. This movie didn't have a cold open. I had to really think about it. I was like, did it cold open or did we get that Marvel sequence first? We got that Marvel sequence first. And it was just normal. Nothing special, right? Just kind of like the run-of-the-mill.
They added Shuri.
Uh-huh.
To the Marvel opening.
Yes, and some of the recent characters.
I think they put Kang in there as well.
Yes, okay, they're adding recent characters. It's looking good. And, honestly, before we even get right into this opening, because this is one of my favorite parts of the film, little catch-up with Scott Lang and Ant-Man, right? Okay, so, we have episodes on all these movies, first of all. But we got Ant-Man, the first movie, all right? Paul Rudd becomes Ant-Man, teams up with Hank Pym, gets the suit. All right, cool. Then he gets tapped in Captain America Civil War to fight with Captain America in Germany against Iron Man in that epic film. Kind of starts becoming an Avenger. Gets his own movie again, a sequel to the film, Ant-Man and the Wasp, where he's finally teaming up with Hope Van Dyne, getting in a suit. The two of these guys doing some badassery, leading into the Avengers Endgame movie. You might remember Ant-Man and the Wasp happened right after Avengers Infinity War, and we had that really crazy post-credit scene where Scott gets stuck in the quantum realm, his family is outside, gets totally dusted, and except for his daughter, she survives, but he's gone for 5 years, misses 5 years of his life, comes back. We learn all about this in Endgame. He teams up with the Avengers to go back in time and snap everybody back.
Time heist.
The time heist. Here we go. Ant-Man 3, Quatumania. Holy cow. This is, I swear, when Kevin Feige told me about this one, I just saw it up on the screen, and it's just like, man, what is going to happen here? What is this movie going to be? Quatumania, the title itself. Then finding out that, okay, we're going to get lots of Kang in the MCU. This is our big bad. I mean, we know that he's a title villain in one of the big Avengers movies that's going to be happening in a couple years. We've met this character one time in Loki, and now this is the movie of the big entrance. Like, we're going to see this guy pretty much as the main villain of this movie, at least per, like Scott said, the trailers.
Yeah.
So how's this one open? You guys remember? You might remember from Ant-Man and the Wasp, 30 years ago, Jan Van Dyne got stuck in the quantum realm after saving some people and from a rocket, essentially. You can just see it, right? Getting on that rocket and going in through the aluminum, had to shrink between the molecules and go quantum. This movie opens up with a flashback to that time where she's stuck in the quantum realm. A spaceship comes down, lands on the ground. A man is crawling on the ground and looks up. It is Kang, and he says, "What is this place?"
Yeah.
What were you guys thinking? Giggler?
I did not expect it to open that way, but I loved it. There's a lot of mystery of like, I mean, you know he's going to be there, but like just starting with that, it's just kind of a good, I don't know, just
yeah,
I
felt like
really
that.
Liked it, yeah,
felt like that Marvel cold open. Felt a lot like what they kind of did with Thor: Love and Thunder with the Christian Bale, kind of like showing you the villain first in a vulnerable state that seems to kind of like to be a thing of like, oh, this guy's down for the count,
right? Maybe this isn't what we thought it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He looks like he needs help. Essentially, is
Right.
kind of what you're thinking. Okay. All right, cut to present day. Scott Lang, here he is. He's telling you about his life. They did the whole new thing where the inner monologue is like for us now. When we hear Scott Lang talking to himself, I'm Ant-Man. I've been through some crazy stuff, but I'm doing okay. I wrote my book. Don't count out the little man, or
something like that.
Something like that. He's signing. He's like a celebrity at the Baskin Robbins where he used to work.
Employee of the century.
Employee of the century. And his daughter and him are playing like some catch up. Recast, by the way, the daughter. Not who you met in Endgame. They brought in, I already forgot her name. I just read it a second ago.
Catherine Newton.
Catherine Newton. She's coming in as Scott Lang's daughter.
Cassie.
Jelly Bean. Or Peanut?
Peanut.
Who's
Yeah.
Jelly Bean?
No idea.
that's me.
That's you. Peanut. And he's playing catch up with her. She's very much taking up the family business. She's like, I have a shrink suit. I got in trouble for shrinking a cop car at like a riot or like a peaceful protest.
Right.
Very much trying to take up the hero mantle. Very close with Hank and Jan. You know, Jan's out of the quantum realm, but she's just trying to live her normal life. And Hope is back. We got Evangeline Lilly here coming back strong with her new pixie haircut. You know, that's new. I think that might be somewhat comic accurate.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
or inspired, I would say. I think that Evangeline Lilly just wanted that haircut though, and like she was just like, I'm gonna do it. I don't care.
She killed it.
She killed it. She looked great. Turns out Cassie's been looking in the quantum realm with old Grandpa Hank Pym, and apparently was, you know, essentially trying to save her dad when he was trapped in the quantum realm all those years.
Yeah.
Right? She's a young kid. She knows about roughly what happened to him. There's a funny line in the, like, toward the beginning of the movie where he's like, I just want you to be a normal kid. And she says, a giant bumblebee attacked me when I was 6.
Right, trying to kill me in my bedroom.
In my bedroom. I'm not normal, you know, and it's super valid. They all get in the basement all at the same time, you know, and they're talking about, you know, this machine essentially she built that could track things in the quantum realm, but it works as kind of like a two-way radio. It sends a signal out, bounces back, and you can see Jane Van Dyne. Janet.
Yeah.
What'd I say? Janet, you know, kind of starting to panic and saying like, hey guys, we need to turn this off. And also I have to tell you like so many things.
Right. I was keeping a lot of stuff from you that I probably in hindsight should not have done.
I think her exact line was, I kept something from you. And I'm like, now that I've seen the movie, I'm like, you mean everything?
Right.
Like your whole life?
Like 30 years worth of stuff?
Yes.
She was sleeping with Bill Murray for a long time.
Yeah, we're gonna just go down the whole path.
I got ahead of myself.
Well, but you gotta
okay.
don't forget they had a family dinner where they just dogged on Scott.
Oh yeah,
for
basically
some reason, because this is his character development plot. He doesn't feel like a superhero anymore, or have a purpose kind of thing. So.
Yeah, or does he? Because it didn't seem like you really knew what he was feeling outside of just like kind of going through the motions, but
just going with what they gave us.
Yep, exactly.
He was always kind of a reluctant superhero.
Yeah, just like whatever you need, like throw him in the back of the van, take him to Germany, right? Oh, now I need you to steal this.
Hey, I need
stuff.
you to steal this. Here's the suit, and I need you to go and steal this, and then I need you to steal this, and hey, you came back. How about a time heist? You know?
Yeah, it is. We're always bringing him in to get the heist going.
Yeah.
Before he even has anybody has a second to talk about it, think about it. This thing sucks them all in. And
they shut it down. And it turns itself back on.
Yeah, it turns itself back on.
Sucks everybody in.
Portal opens up right in the middle, and they're flipping right away through the quantum realm. I mean, pretty epic scene, right? This is pretty fun, seeing them like kind of hanging on, and Hope throws on her suit and goes after her parents.
Yeah,
like,
Janet and
cool.
Hank get sucked in, so Hope lets go, and then Cassie gets sucked in, so Scott lets go.
Hits his suit. They got the suits that kind of just come out of nowhere.
Yeah. The super ants are going with them.
Oh yeah, sucks in the super ants, the tiny super ants.
That would be very relevant.
Yeah, that was coming back.
Like, these ants aren't just gonna.
They've all got their little helmets on.
Yeah, and apparently, like they're all like able to survive. They don't need like a suit on. They're just kind of falling. They land somewhere, and Hank even says, like, "How are we alive? This is crazy." I thought there was nothing down here, and here we go. We've landed in the quantum realm. Quantumania is off. Like, I mean, this is from the get-go. It's the first 20 minutes of the movie. All right, so. I mean, this is where we get into the whole backstory of Janet, and we're meeting everybody Janet's encountered. Let's just go down the list, right? Who's in the quantum realm? There's a huge, pretty much like a rebellion going on, essentially, like a group of people that are fighting somebody that's tormented them. She's also got like old spy friends that know her from different parts of her life, and then. I don't know how quickly they get to this, but the long story short is we already knew from the opening of the movie she met Kang early on.
Oh, yeah. She knows who Kang is.
She's got a relationship with this guy, and we learn a little bit more kind of trickled in through flashbacks with this guy. And, I mean, this is really what it is. And I kind of got a little confused about, Kang, what do we learn? He got banished to the quantum realm by the other Kangs.
The Council of Kangs.
The Council of Kangs. And, I mean, for you MCU fans, you might already know about a little bit of this, right?
This is a real thing.
Have you watched Loki? You got some intel from that. And then, Scotty, you're very familiar probably, which is with, this Kang storyline that we are embarking on. Multiple Kangs through multiple multiverses all kind of end up doing the same thing. They all end up knowing about the multiverse, and then they kind of fight it out, right?
Right.
He was so bad that he got banished. Which to me, I'm like, man, he was the bad of the bad.
Right.
Or was he the one that they're worried about?
Yeah.
Essentially the one that might win. And then I think too, man, the Loki Kang, he was the one who remains. So all this is in my mind as you're kind of seeing this. This is how it was for me watching it. It's hard, and I had just watched that last episode before this movie. And essentially she thinks he's just a normal guy that's trying to escape just like her.
Yeah.
Until she gets to see inside of his mind.
They fix his machine.
Yep.
Basically.
Multiverse engine machine.
Yes. They fix it, and she touches the power source, and it basically shows her everything that he's done.
It's a neuro link.
Yeah.
She can see everything he's done.
She sees everything and immediately cuts him off.
Yeah. Goes from being friends to going, I'm out.
Yep.
I can see you slaughtering worlds.
Oh, I screwed up.
I can see you cutting timelines.
Yep.
They showed the timelines and how they branched off and how he was cutting them down. Again, this is all going to make you think of Loki. And this is essentially how she makes a villain out of, not a villain, but an enemy out of Kang, because she blows up the one power source that he needs, and it blocks him from leaving. So what's he do in the meantime?
Slaps it with the Pym particles.
And blows it up.
Makes it so huge that it's obviously not usable.
Looks like a planet, right? And this is where we find out, okay, well, since that happened, what's he do? He pretty much builds an empire within the quantum realm. And he's able to use technology that's around and people that are around to, he had a massive, I don't even know if you call it a castle, ship, compound.
Yeah.
And armies and ships and machinery and guns, and he's been, I guess, victimizing and terrorizing the other people that are around in the quantum realm. But that's where I get confused. like I thought there was something about like where these people in the quantum realm come from, or I guess they were just like always there. It's just universes upon universes.
It's
just
I
like
mean,
the
it
multiverse.
almost seems like a dumping point for stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you get all kinds of weird stuff in this place, you know, whether it's from other multiverses or other, you know, universes, you know, and it's its own universe, but it's kind of out of time. It's a very strange thing to kind of grasp.
Yeah, not quite the dumping ground of what was it, Aliath or Eliath and Loki, you know, but it's a similar type thing where like you can kind of just end up here, or it's a great place to banish people you find,
right?
It's like kind of cut off.
If you don't have a way to get out, then there's no getting out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really explain that at all, because like even at one point they asked Bill Murray, they're like, "Oh, so you're human?" He's like, "Oh, is that what you call
whatever
yourselves?"
Yeah.
It's just like, we're just not gonna we're not gonna really go.
Yeah, we don't need to dive that deep.
Let's get it out of the way. Bill Murray's in this movie.
Yeah.
Bill Murray's in the MCU. I think that they kept him on a path.
Yeah.
And he played this role that was like an old friend of Janet and really actually an old lover.
Yeah.
Very clearly an old lover. That is referenced a lot.
Yeah, he's by him mainly.
Yeah.
And it turns out like he made some kind of deal with Kang to kind of become this lord, and she thought he was going to help them with a ride and like kind of get what happens right in the with the crew itself. They get split up. Hope and Cassie get split up and kind of have their own journey with the people of the quantum realm. They meet the jelly type guy, and they drink his juice.
He just needs some holes.
Drink the juice.
That was hilarious.
The holes doesn't have any holes. Drink the juice, and what happens when you drink the juice? Everybody can talk.
Translator, yeah.
It's translate juice. So they're split up, but very quickly, Kang finds out where they are, takes them captive. Meanwhile, Janet, Hank.
Well, he sends the ultimate killing machine,
MODOK.
Oh, man.
Which I'm not going to remember the acronym for it.
MODOK. Yeah, let's just get out of the way. Ultimate killing machine.
Mechanized organism designed only for killing.
Yeah, this is it. The movie that I have some fun facts about this film and some stuff on MODOK, but you get him in this movie.
Yeah.
They only show parts of him, you know, kind of like coming in from the sky and like attacking the people, and you're just like, oh, what was that?
Right.
And you don't really get to meet him until he comes face to face with Scott when they got him prisoner at Kang's fortress. And he's like, hello, old nemesis.
Yeah.
And then Scott's like, what? Who are you? And he's like, don't you remember your old friend?
Like drops his face mask. Boom.
Darren
Cross.
Darren Cross from the first movie, the antagonist from the first movie, the Bumblebee that attacked
Yellow
Jacket. I say Bumblebee. He got shrunken down in the quantum realm.
Yeah, and you saw it in the first movie.
Oh my god.
Where he got hit with the shrink stuff and he was kind of shrinking in pieces. And apparently that continued all the way down.
Except for his head.
Except for his head.
Legs.
Which kind of got, he got the baby legs, the baby
arms.
And he is MODOK.
He has been turned into a killing machine by Kang.
All right. Was this a moment for anybody? Like,
this was a moment for me.
I could tell this was a moment for fans. It wasn't for me. Scott, tell us about this moment.
This is just an outrageous character from the comic books. Got his own show on Hulu, an animated show.
Patton
Oswalt. Man. And you're just like, wow, I cannot believe they brought this level of ridiculous.
He looks
to the MCU.
So ridiculous too. His head,
so ridiculous.
His face. It just looks goofy.
It was a little. The CGI was a little sketchy, but whatever. It's MODOK.
You know, they had plans to bring MODOK into so many other titles. I was going to bring up some of them. So they were going to try to bring him into. In 1997, Stan Lee wrote a script for an Iron Man film for 20th Century Fox that featured MODOK. Christopher Marcus wanted MODOK to appear in Captain America: The Winter Soldier with Peter Dinklage playing him.
Yeah, wow, it's a little strange.
And then they, obviously went with Alexander Pierce in that movie. Dinklage obviously played someone in Infinity War. He was one of the
Eitri, the elf.
Yep, that's right. There was rumor also for MODOK to appear in Avengers: Infinity War. They tried to get MODOK in the 5th season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Keith David was supposed to play MODOK in the canceled TV series New Warriors. So, hey, man, lots of opportunities. Never happened until now.
Finally got him.
That's for you, Scotty. Oh,
Yes.
God.
Love it.
I need multiple applause buttons is what I need. That's what I'm learning today on the show. I'll give it up for MODOK. And you MODOK fans, this is probably a long time coming. I'm sure when you saw him shooting out with his saws and his little arms and everything, it was pretty good.
And this is a different from his comic origin, right? This is completely new. So that's kind of cool. I like when they
worked
do
it
things
in.
like that. That's shows they can still be creative.
Gotta make it different.
Yeah.
All right, so really moving through the story at this point, the mission becomes clear. Don't let Kang leave, and we got to do it together. I mean, that's what it comes down to. The premise, I guess, that they're kind of the theme of what they're working with is Scott's daughter wants to help everybody. Scott is like, we just got to get out of here. You know,
I just want to go. I don't really care about helping everyone else. I'm only really worried about you.
Yeah.
And myself.
Yes, and we just got to leave.
He's a reluctant superhero.
Reluctant superhero once again, and that's the hill that he's like having to overcome in this movie, and he does, right? So then what's he do? He teams up with the people.
You can see when they get attacked, he kind of wants to stay back, and she suits up.
She suits up, and she like runs toward the danger. I want to help.
She's
this
bouncing
other
off
person.
people because she doesn't understand how to fight.
Tap punch,
tap punch. He's trying to, teach her how, much like Hope taught him how in the first movie.
It's like, did you see how I did it? She's like, no, I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, you were very small.
Cassie has her big moment helping the rebellion people like escape from the prison. She gets on the big loud comm and like motivates everybody to come help. And epic fight scenes. We have not talked about the CGI a lot in this. I mean, this movie is 99% CGI. That they were definitely filming in front of that big dome thing that they have now.
Green arena.
Well, green is. I mean, they use green screens, blue screens. We all know about this. But if you've watched, I think Industrial Light and Magic, they show you the stuff they're using on Star Wars and Mandalorian now, and they use it for Marvel movies. They shot Thor: Love and Thunder on it for sure, and I forget what it's called, but it's
the volume.
I think you're right. The volume
that they use for the Batman.
It's like it sounds right. If you just look up like big giant Disney movie shooting screen, I mean, it's essentially like they don't need the green screens anymore.
Yeah.
Essentially, you're shooting pretty much with what is around you on the screen. Essentially, a lot of stuff you see in Thor: Love and Thunder when they're on other planets, the stuff they used to paint in the backgrounds for like the old Star Wars movies, now they just have an actual screen where like you're pretty much there.
Oh, okay.
It's insane.
So you're standing in front of a bunch of TV screens.
It's not even a bunch of TV screens. It's one giant mega oval screen.
Okay.
Like you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like it's real.
If you watch the Batman on HBO Max and go to the special scenes or whatever, there's a really good video on it that shows pretty cool, especially with the scenes that they use. It's specifically the chase scene, which is one of the best.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's phenomenal.
Back to the MCU though. All
right, well, backing up. Hey, we're approaching the end of this thing. It comes to a head. The battle is happening.
Well, Kang has taken Cassie.
Okay. Yes, he's got Cassie, and he tells Scott, "There's only one way you're out of here at all."
Right. I need you to steal something for me.
And this is
basically
somebody's got to get the MacGuffin.
Yep.
Wouldn't be a Marvel movie without a MacGuffin.
I need you to get in here, and I need you to shrink this time battery. My car battery. I need you to shrink it back down. So we can get out of here.
Yeah, it's really big. I need it to be small again.
And then you can have your daughter. I don't really care.
Probably one of my top favorite scenes in the movie, though. A real look at Kang, a look at his powers.
Oh yeah,
a look at his.
He's
his
almost
style.
like force choking everyone. His Darth Vader moves here, where he's throwing Scott and Cassie around. He's got her hovered in the air. Laying sideways. He's, choking him.
Yeah.
You really get to see his level of power.
I'm so ready to see some of these origin stories of Kang. Like, I want to see like the early days. I want to see like, he's like, I know he's different people probably sometimes, but like Nathaniel Reed Richards, I feel like, from like the 31st century and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's all leading there. Like, we're eventually going to get these stories of like seeing the multiverse for the first time. But at this moment, you're just getting this guy in his full villain suit, and he's like, "I'll kill your daughter," and he's like bending her to her bones.
Yeah, like I'll do it right now.
And being Corky being the funny, offbeat Scott Lang isn't going to save you this time.
No. And he even says, like, he knows who the Avengers are.
Yeah. Who's the one with the axe?
The hammer?
The hammer?
Are you the one with the hammer? And he knows.
I've killed
he's not.
many Avengers.
Yeah. Have I killed you yet? Yeah.
So good. Like, just, I mean, those scenes, I was like, hell yeah. So, yeah, you got to go in there, Scott. You got to shrink down into the giant battery, and it's going to mess with your mind. And how's it going to do that? Mainly with what you called it earlier, Andy, a probability
storm.
Yep.
And what's that mean for him? Copying himself.
It means
infinitely.
Every decision that he could make
will be duplicated into a new version of him.
Is being played out almost like a smaller version of what's happening with the timelines.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps branching, and then branches branch, and those branches branch, and every decision that you could make is being shown right in front of you. These just splitting off like crazy amoebas on crack.
Yeah, and we had just watched Living with Yourself, the show with Paul Rudd on Netflix, where, I mean, I don't want to tell you what happens. You should just watch that show. And,
oh, my God.
And it's about a couple Paul Rudds, and that's all I'll say.
That's funny. I forgot about
I think
that
I've
show.
seen that one.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, I couldn't help but think about that. But that was a crazy scene. I mean, you can't. This is some of the best CGI that you're going to see, like the growing, the shrinking. They really brought it on this movie, the technology. And in this probability storm, it's like full force.
Yeah, he's shrinking. He's trying different things to get to the core of this machine.
It's not working.
And it's not working. And finally, he gets the version of Scott that still works at the Baskin Robbins,
yes.
Employee of the Century.
Yep.
And somehow he gets all these versions of himself to work together.
Yeah, he goes, we all want the same thing.
Yeah.
Cassie.
Do it for her.
Get him up. And I mean,
and they all start chanting.
And I had the chills.
Yeah,
I was
for
like,
sure.
getting the vibe. I'm sure you as a dad too.
Yeah,
like,
all my kids were there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was feeling it. I was like, oh shoot. Okay. And then Hope
comes down
and saves him, pulls him out. They are able to shrink the thing down, and this is the big moment. Kang is there. They're there. Hand it over. Don't hand it over. We made a deal. He's like, I don't care if we made a deal. I'm going to keep your daughter. He just takes it from him with his force powers. And what happens next? I mean, this is the big battle, essentially.
This is
They basically are like, we got to go fight.
They're like, he takes his stuff back up. He's like getting his shit going.
Cassie is fighting with MODOK.
Cassie's fighting MODOK. Yep.
And
because he sends him to like go kill her.
Right.
He's like,
kill her.
And he gets the whole speech from her where she's like, listen, Darren,
you're just a dick.
Just stop. He's like, that's all I know how to do. He's like, tell me what to be. I'll be it.
That was so weird. That was one of the weirdest scenes in the whole MCU.
Yeah.
Especially when they showed earlier in the movie when they showed his like him being made and they showed his like naked butt.
Yeah, his naked
little tiny butt.
I was like,
arms.
what is this?
And like just putting him in the suit.
I was like, this movie's kind of for kids, and you just showed that weird alien's butt.
Kids have butts.
Yeah, man.
That's true.
It's funny. It's a good laugh point.
I laughed. I was laughing.
She jumps on the projector.
She gets everybody riled up.
Trying to get all the rebellion together. And
Scott goes mega giant man.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest he's ever been before. Yep. And he runs in and it's attacking the dome around Kang's fortress. Like, this is what's protecting Kang. He's trying to just get his ship fired up. And Scott's like trying to beat it. Cassie ends up getting big. They're both big, so they get to kind of do it. And then right when it seems like they're not doing so hot, it's going horribly, Kang even gets so pissed he just comes down into the crowd and is just massacring people with his beams,
lasering people all over the place.
This is where they showed just like the flat out disregard for life.
Yeah,
this guy has no regard for life. It's about we just got to wipe these folks out. The powers look crazy. I mean, the beams coming out of his hands. Was this adding up for you as a person that maybe knows Kang a little bit? For me, I'm like, I still don't know exactly everything this guy can do. They don't tell you anything. They just like, here's this
Not
villain.
Really. I mean, he just kind of is who they say he is.
Yeah, because he's got the tech. He's a genius. Mainly,
he's a future time traveling Iron Man.
Yeah,
basically.
It's like Iron Man, but like next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean he was he was a huge part of Secret Wars, first comic book that I ever read, basically. And I mean, it feels like this character was just ripped off of those pages, like from like the suit and everything, just completely one of the best.
The suit looked great.
Comic accurate ones that they've done from the start, I think, for sure.
All right. Well, as it's going down and he's murking everyone, who comes and saves the day?
Ants.
Hank.
Ants! The smart ants.
Now they're even smarter.
Oh, not only, remember how smart they are? He said that they fell into a time vortex, they landed somewhere, they lived for thousands of years, and they built their own society, and they evolved well past everybody else. And I mean, there was just so many of them, and like the technology was crazy, and they got like gunships, and here they come, man. And I mean, they
developed socialism. That's what he said.
Yeah,
they developed socialism.
He goes, now say what you want about socialism,
okay.
But I mean, that was quite a line for a Marvel movie. You know?
For sure.
Disney's like, baby steps.
Well, the irony is, ants are driven by the queen, so it's like it's not really socialism when you have.
Aren't those? Is that true for ants? I thought that was bees.
No, it's the same with ants.
It's the same thing with
ants.
It's
an insect kingdom thing.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
That's why I was like, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't totally add up just based on the way the bugs work. But,
well, in the battle,
the monarchy is kind of not really anything anymore.
Yeah.
Well, they make a big dent. They actually like pile up on Kang. It looks like they might be able to even break through his fortress. They take down his stuff. The other army is there, like the local rebellion, and this is all going to come down to being in a room with Kang. They're all there facing him one-on-one in his fortress. I don't know if I'm skipping anything.
Don't forget
here.
the MODOK sacrifice.
MODOK, yeah.
Oh man, MODOK.
Yeah, Cassie basically convinces him to fight against Kang and distracts him for like just enough time for the ants to kick in and carry him away. And I was like, wait, did ants really just end this movie?
Yes, and I like they got a hold of his body. I was like, is he dead?
Yeah, and MODOK's laying there. He's out. He's done.
It's the big dying scene.
Yeah,
and he's like, Scott, you were like a brother.
He's like,
he's like, I guess I'm an Avenger now.
Yeah,
he goes, I died an Avenger.
I'm dying an Avenger.
I died an Avenger. And Scott goes, yeah,
sure, dude.
And Hope's like, you did.
Sure, Dad.
It was pretty good. Go ahead, Danny.
So I really like Kang. My biggest problems with him was I feel like there was more story to tell because unless I missed it, like I didn't understand why he did or was doing what he was doing. Mm-hmm. There was like a big gap there, and like he almost like alluded to like, no, there's a reason I had to do this, but
he does, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like we ever got that.
No.
And then he goes from like when you were talking about in the prison scene where he's like super powerful, I'm like, that's what I was like, okay, this can be a big bad because I'm always looking like if Kang's the next person, well, he's got to deal with Hulk and Thor and all these other superheroes with all these other powers, and Thanos could do it. Made it interesting. When Kang got beat by the ants, and all of a sudden, like, why couldn't Kang just nerf the ants like he did everybody else 2 seconds ago? So that was for me. I'm like, okay, did you like? And even when he's fighting Ant-Man, and then will again in a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, at least when he was fighting him the second time, his like suit was broken. But
yeah, right.
I felt like when his suit was together, I'm like, where did all this power go? Like now he's overwhelmed. Too many ants.
Yep. I totally agree. Like I feel like this is a villain that is like.
I wanted him to be. Yeah, I wanted them to trick him almost, and that's how they escape him to where they never beat him. They just like got lucky.
Which. Jump to the end a little bit. It's kind of what Scott thinks about. He's like, how'd it go? Well, let's talk about this big part because this is my probably favorite scene of the movie. They are able to. The ants do take away Kang, but Kang comes back at the last minute, right?
Yeah,
because
they're all getting ready to go home.
They figured out how to open the portal.
They've opened the gate.
Yes.
Janet and Hank go through.
Yep.
Cassie goes through, and then Kang comes out of nowhere and keeps Scott from coming through.
But Jane goes through. Cassie's standing there. He pushes Cassie.
Pushes her through. Makes the sacrifice.
Oh,
he's ready to stay.
This was it, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, this was it. And hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
And Scott Lang is already not like the strongest fighter.
Right.
And Kang, like is just mopping the floor with him, and it's brutal
Yeah.
beating. I mean, I don't know, like you talk about kids watching this part. This is where I was like, yeah, this is it. Bring it. This is like the edgiest the movie gets
For sure.
And
he says it right out. Like, you can tell Scott Lang has just given up going home.
Yeah,
Because he says,
that's over.
I don't have to win.
We just both
have to lose.
and that's the moment.
All I have to do is keep you from going in.
And he takes the things. Hope came back, saves his ass,
Yeah.
blasts him, and then they hit him with the shrinking disc again
On the thing, and it sucks him into the time engine.
into the time and just kind of like disappears.
Yeah. Gone.
Gone. Right. Yeah, totally. Right.
Yeah. For now.
And then to me was this scene that like felt like in the original cut, Scott's dead. And then in this cut, it was just like, oh, Hope, I love you. Oh, I love you too.
Let's go home.
Kiss. Let's go home. And they go home. And it felt like that. But I feel like they did a good job with like that lingering, because what do we get? Scott kind of like
Scott
that inner monologue.
doing the little walk down the street. He's happy. Oh, we saved the day. Or did we?
He's got to pay for his coffee now.
Wait a minute. The guy's like, you're
the guy with the
bug
ants.
man. You're bug man. That's $12.
$12.
He's like, I saved the day. I saved all these people. He's like, but is that what happened? Did I save everybody? He also mentioned that there were a lot more of him coming if I didn't let him leave.
Right.
Did I do that? So they had this like lingering thought.
Yeah. I'm sure it's fine.
F it.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
All right, in credit scenes, because they're just as part of the movie on this one. The next one you see, first one you see, mid credits, all the Kangs.
The Council of Kangs.
I mean, how many?
Oh, it's thousands.
Thousands.
Thousands upon thousands. An arena full.
An arena full, and then like in the background you get like a few of them
talking. You get three main ones.
Do you know these Kangs?
One is Immortus.
Okay.
The other one is Rama Tut.
Oh, which one? I'm just kidding.
Pharaoh one, probably.
I was kidding.
Yeah. And the third one, I'm not 100% sure on. It could be some sort of version of Iron Lad who didn't become a good guy. But he had a very like futuristic kind of Iron Man-esque suit.
Is Immortus the one that was like a different color?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the main one that was talking.
And what's he say? He says, "Okay, so the exiled one is dead.
Is gone."
He said gone.
Yeah,
but I thought they said dead.
They might have said dead or off the table or somehow destroyed.
And now I don't know what they said. Even it was like
now it's our time.
Now it's our
kind
time.
of.
Everybody's like, all right, let's get together.
Right.
I mean, they were just going crazy.
Meddling with the multiverse.
Yeah. I think all of these Kangs were able to come together because of Sylvie killing the one who remains.
In Loki.
That's
exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
These guys didn't either A, didn't exist, or B, couldn't get together because he who remains was keeping the sacred timeline trimmed.
Yes.
And wasn't allowing any branches to form and any other Kangs to come to fruition.
Yes.
So you're saying it's not the Kang from this movie, it's the one from the Loki show that they're actually referencing.
Well, to me, it feels like
it could be.
Yeah, because to me, it always ends the same way. Like a Kang either wins or like loses, and like our storyline with the Avengers now will like you think they'll win,
right?
Eventually, but what has happened always is
a Kang eventually comes together
exactly
and takes over and fixes the timeline.
Yeah, fixes the timeline
to keep the other Kangs from getting out of control.
Right. And
it makes you wonder, was the Kang we just saw in Quantumania the bad Kang?
Yeah.
Was He Who Remains the bad Kang? Is one of these other Kangs the bad Kang?
And what is the bad Kang?
And what is the bad Kang?
And like, how bad does it get? Because like, who's the best Kang? Like, you know, and like,
Right.
will one come along that's like a good guy?
We have Iron Lad is a Kang who came back and joined the Young Avengers and became a hero. So, you know, there's infinite number of Kangs.
Yeah.
There's got to be a worse one.
Is he younger? Is he like a younger
Yeah, he's
Kang?
like a
Is that the
teenage
idea?
Kang
Okay.
who came back to try and like not be a villain.
Okay, so
No, cool.
perfect segue. Second end credit scene.
Loki
Loki season 2 tease
and Morbius.
and Mobius,
Mobius.
a Mobius
Mobin
a
time.
Mobius strip. I just watched Endgame too. I
watch it like every week.
Yeah, of course. Before this movie, I watched Ant-Man, the Civil War scene, Ant-Man 2, and
Nice.
Endgame.
Nice.
Man, it was so great. It was a fun week.
That's good.
All right, so
Good run.
Loki, Mobius, in like the 30s, 20s.
Yeah, it looked, you know, like he was showing off some sort of thing. And
Victor Timely.
Yeah.
Victor Timely, like, yeah, come around and putting on a show. And Mobius is like, I
That's
thought you
the
said-
guy?
That's the guy. I thought you said he was like
Dead.
ominous.
Yeah,
and,
or scary.
and he's like,
That's the guy.
he is.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, you watch Loki again, and
Wow,
maybe a
cannot
masterpiece.
wait
You know,
to
Dan-
watch it again.
Dan, you had some questions about, you know, where was Kang's story? You know, what are his motivations? And I just don't
Yeah.
think that this was the movie for that.
Yeah, and
You know, that we're gonna get it.
Well,
You know, we're going to get a lot of that in Loki. I think we're going to get tidbits of it throughout this next phase, and then the Kang Dynasty Avengers film is where we're going to get like a full background of story. Because if you think about phase 1 and phase 2 and even most of phase 3, we didn't get Thanos' backstory.
Yeah, and Thanos.
We didn't get anything but like taste and tidbits
Yep.
and post-credit scenes
Until he was in Guardians.
until he was in Guardians. Was he in Guardians? He was at the end of some.
yeah, he was in Guardians. He was.
he was in Avengers first.
He was-
That's
Yeah, he
when
was
they
in
first showed him.
the
he was
tease at
Avengers.
Avengers. I'll do it myself.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Well, that was after Age of Ultron.
Right.
Avengers. He talked a little bit at the end to his people that were like running Loki.
Yeah.
And then they also
Yep.
had I mean, he was in Guardians because Ronan talked to him with his
Oh,
big
yeah, that's
face on
right.
the big screen.
Yeah.
This I totally agree with you, Scott. This villain is so different because there's so many of them, and it's like a time travel kind of
Right.
story too.
We don't know if every version we're seeing is the same version we've already seen.
And I'm also saying like to Dan's point, you're watching Ant-Man Quantumania. Say you don't really know any of this Kang stuff, and maybe you haven't seen Loki. They're just doing this differently.
Mhm.
Thanos was like, the universe needs to be set straight. Like, that's what I want to do. We don't even know really what this guy wants to do outside of like what was told in Loki, and he said a little bit of that in this movie too. It always happens, or like, you guys don't know what's gonna happen if I don't do what I need to do.
Right.
And like, to us, it's like
It's almost
multiversal war is like the concern.
it's almost a multiversal version of Thanos. Like
Yeah.
instead of having to fix the universe, I have to fix the multiverse.
I have to, and if I don't, it's just chaos
Yes,
and war and
I
death.
have to destroy countless numbers of planets and trillions of people, but it's to make sure it works.
Yeah, Janet says, but you're killing trillions to do this as you do it. And he goes, I wish that mattered.
Yeah. They don't matter.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Best part of the movie for sure.
Jonathan Majors just killed it.
All right, that's the story. Got some fun facts for you. Got some ratings. Before we get into that, we're just going to talk about this movie for a minute. All right, you've seen it. It's out there. It's come, it's gone. We talked about how we felt going into it. Danny P., tell me what you thought about this movie.
If I could sum it up in one word, it would be meh. I mean, as a standalone film, it's all over the place. I almost feel like it's unwatchable if you haven't watched Loki and all the ant, like we're getting to a point where you have to see everything, or you like Kang. I don't think hits if you haven't seen Loki in nearly the same way, and that was my frustration of. I'm just like, I hear your point on like the tease of Thanos, but that was always a tease. This is like he's the primary villain here, and I don't really know anything about him except he's trying to get out of here and he killed some people, but he's like, but I had a reason, but I'm not going to tell you because I want to do that later in a movie. And so Kang was my favorite part. Evangeline Lilly's character Hope could have not been in that movie. She had no role except to help out a little bit every now and then. I felt Cassie was weak. I didn't like Scott's character development. I had almost none of the humor hit for me. I thought the CGI was very under the standard for what we had just seen in Black Panther. And I mean, I'll take Avatar out of it. I'll pin it against Black Panther, and I think it was way worse, with the exception of the Iron Man girl whose name I can't remember right now. Ironheart, which that one looked terrible also, but it's come out now. Actually, the people that worked on this movie are saying, well, all the money got moved for visual effects to Black Panther, and we didn't have the budget. I thought the character, like all the different types of characters, were really cool. It was very Star Wars-esque and kind of creature mix-esque. I thought that was neat. But the story just felt so disconjointed to me. The humor didn't hit, and the action, while fun, like this is very low on my list of overall Marvel movies right now. And I really wanted to like it. I was really excited. All the stuff people were hypothesizing when we saw like the rings going up around his big platform, people like, oh, it must connect to the rings. Like, there was none of that. There was no connection with any of that stuff. Because I'm like, oh, that'd be interesting. Maybe there's like this through line with the rings and Kang, and it's going to kind of bring these things together. Maybe we're just early. I mean, clearly those rings did mean anything. But I don't know. It's like a setup for Phase 5. I'm less excited than I was after Black Panther, unfortunately. I'm excited for Loki because I like those characters, but this did not hit for me.
Yeah, I'll pile on because these guys might bring us back with some positives, but I felt a similar way. And honestly, when I left, I just kind of thought to myself, like, just running through Phase 4, there is part of me that feels like all of these movies were like going to be better and edgier. And I look at Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and then I look at this movie, and I just think, where's the strong characters making like strong choices? Like, that's what makes a Marvel flick is like a culmination of everything a character's been through and giving them some real depth and like some real hard choices to make. And like, I'm just not feeling that in this movie. We talk about Scott Lang rolling through this, like, and I'm looking at Quantumania from the trailers and everything going into this, and I like Kang did his part in this flick, and everything about Kang and Jonathan Majors is a win in this movie. Like, every scene I see, I'm just like, I don't want it to end, and I'm like, I'm so intrigued, and like, I'm like, you know, you can feel like that mystery about what's going on. And then like, you got Scott Lang, who really feels like he took a back seat in this movie. Like, I didn't know who was the star. Like, you know, it's like, do you want his daughter to be the star? Or like, it doesn't need to be just one, but like, the first two Ant-Man films are so good. They did such a good job, like, giving such high stakes to like the things that they're going through. And like, this was in the quantum realm. And like, I still couldn't feel like those stakes until like Jonathan came on screen and being Kang. So I feel what you're saying. You know, part of me feels like, you know, these feel like Disney movies. You know, they feel like the family first. You said meh. I've said safe. It feels very safe. It feels like this will be fine. It'll get us through. And maybe we're saving the big stuff for the big movies later. which
I also think it was
know.
a big miss not bringing his crew back in some capacity.
Yeah.
That was like some of the funniest scenes in the first two movies when they're sitting there like when he's planning out the heist. I can't think of his name.
Luis.
Yeah, Luis. Oh my God, that's hilarious when he does that stuff.
I will tell you the guy with the holes.
Yep.
Was one of the guys on the crew.
David Dalkamaki.
Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man, yeah.
Yeah, so he got to come back as a different character.
Right.
But not
that guy didn't work for me.
Oh, I loved that guy. I loved the little jelly guy.
All right. Scotty?
I can see where you guys are coming from, especially Logan. I don't feel like this was like anyone was a star here. This was very ensemble cast, but no one really rose above. Everybody performed well. I think the new Cassie, she was great. Scott was great. Jonathan Majors, I think, was a standout. Everybody did well. I don't feel like this movie was the one that was marketed to me in the trailer. I thought this was going to be a very emotional, very heavy start, and it was just, oh, well, Kang kidnapped my daughter, and I have to just do this to get her back kind of thing. Like, I really thought there was going to be a decision he had to make that was going to kill someone.
Well, yeah, right. A death.
I thought
someone's going to die.
I thought he was going to sacrifice himself for sure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least have some of that kind of levity there, and it just didn't happen. But that's not to say I didn't like the movie. I liked the movie, and I don't think it deserves as much of a low score as it's getting.
Yeah, right.
It's definitely not top 15.
Yeah. Take those.
But I don't think it's like bottom tier at all. Like, I wouldn't put this with Thor 2 or Iron Man 3 or any of the other, kind of dregs of the Marvel universe. I would say this was a decent movie.
Yeah.
It was missing something.
Yeah. I meant what I said about, like, I felt like they changed the end, where, like, part of me thinks, like, Disney's like, we can't do this right now.
Paul Rudd might be in his 50s, but he still looks great. Let's not kill him yet.
Not even just that, but, like, people are, like, a little unstable right now, maybe.
Right.
And, like, we can't be, like, we got to keep, like, spirits high.
Right. Like, yeah.
Think about the last two movies, though. You have Black Panther, super heavy, and you have Thor, where Natalie Portman's character, died. And so maybe they were like,
that was a little slapsticky, goofy movie.
Yeah, but it still agreed. It had like a character death, and like, okay, maybe we don't kill another one like 3 movies in a row.
But that was a character you only got, like a long time ago that you didn't really even know that you wanted.
And she's not done.
Yeah,
like she's in Valhalla.
Right. Still accessible.
True.
Giggler.
Yeah. Here's my issue. Months and months ago, the director of this movie said that it was going to be a Avengers level event, not just a stepping stone as the other Ant-Man movies.
That was a lie.
So that's
lie.
Yeah, I know. They keep, like, these movies have their own hype. Like, they don't need to add to it like that.
That's it.
I think that's where I kind of got with Doctor Strange, where I got my hopes up like before the movie. But I agree with Scott. This isn't as bad as I think everyone's saying. Jonathan Majors, I need him.
It was fun.
More of him, and I think honestly, he has a chance to be a better villain overall than Thanos. If like, just because of what we just talked about, he's going to be in so many different things, so many different versions.
He's going to have a lot more depth.
Thanos was in 2 credit scenes, one scene, and then Infinity War and Endgame, and then he was done. So that's what I'm most excited for. And I think he's in for a busy next few years. But I think from what I've seen so far, I'm really excited for this villain. But I mean, what else? I honestly couldn't, like, I also got the Star Wars vibes from this. I couldn't tell, like, I have to see this movie again. I think I'm going to see it in 3D and just kind of digest a little more, but I couldn't tell if it was like a Star Wars / Bobo Guardians of the Galaxy, like mashup or like one of the better like family comedies that Marvel's done. It had little hints of both of those, but I think Paul Rudd humor overall is just getting just old to me because it's the same jokes kind of over and over, like the same shtick.
Yeah.
But because I'm the person that I am, I pre-ordered his book on Amazon the other day, and it comes out in September.
A real book?
Yeah,
it's a real book.
It comes out in September.
Look out for the little guy.
They had it on audiobook,
like
and he's like actually listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I felt the same way about the humor though. Like in this movie, I felt like they brought in that Scott Lang humor, and it felt like misplaced. It felt like they were just like, just do it again, and just make the same, have him make the jokes, and you know, he always made these jokes in the past, so just have him make the jokes again. And I was like, this guy has been through so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would not be like this. Like think about how he was in Avengers Endgame. Like where's that guy? Like this guy is just like, I'm telling you, it just felt like watered down a little bit.
I feel like he needed the right characters or situation to play off of with that humor. And like, because in Avengers, when you have so many like that are super serious, like Tony Stark and Captain America, and you got one guy cracking jokes, it's funny because that's the funny guy. But here it just didn't. I don't know. It's like he was just telling jokes to tell jokes. It's not like he was even engaging with other people. It felt like sometimes.
Well, it's like Andy
he's like
said,
talking to himself a lot.
It's like Andy said. They talk about what this movie's going to be, what it's going to. Like the tone is different. It's not the same as the first two movies. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's exactly the same outside of Kang. Like Kang's the only thing that's like a little bit darker, and like he's just as dark as like Darren Cross, who was like a murderer. Like, just in the regard of the Ant-Man movies, comparing them to each other, but. Anyway, it's
but I think Kang's the best Ant-Man villain by a mile.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Yes,
I was more interested in him. That's why I was disappointed I didn't get more of his story than anything else in that movie.
Who was the villain in Ant-Man 2?
Ghost.
That's right. Who is apparently also not dead.
The Ghost in the quantum realm. Getting Janet back.
That's right.
Which, this movie is also like the payoff to a lot of those things too. Like her being gone for 30 years, and they talk so much about the quantum realm. It's called Quatumania. I do just think that like at this point, this is like, how many films, how many titles now? You're just expecting like it to be like a game changer a little bit. Like,
yeah.
I understand if this was just like Ant-Man 2, but I'm like, it's Ant-Man 3. So
it's the MCU is really starting to fall into the same trappings as the comic books do, where if you want to know what's going on with this event, you have to read X title, and you have to read another X title, and then another X title, and that leads to this. And if you want to know what this character was doing, only showed up on these 3 pages, you need to read these issues over here, and it's really starting to branch out. Yeah. And I think they're starting to lose people.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt like I have to watch these films, but like they've also done a good job with the catch-ups on Disney Plus. They have like the featurettes, of like Scott Lang catch-up.
Where's it been? Where they been?
Yes,
what happened?
Legends or whatever.
Yeah, Marvel Legends.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So
I would
keep that in mind.
I would love to see, and I know it's not going to be for a while, but if I'm Kevin Feige, I'm sitting down and saying, for the next big thing that we have not already announced, let's make an original villain so that nobody knows. You can't read comics. You can't find source material and hypothesize. We're going to put somebody in front of you that you've never met. You don't know what they're capable. You don't know why they're doing. That's the sort of thing I feel I need at this point a little bit to like, I don't know, put some of the mystery or something back into it, because I agree with you, Scott. It's very much like, it feels very comic booky after they've been doing it for a while, and then they always have to do some sort of like hard reset.
Right. Well, and I think this is what it's almost the plot of Kang.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trimming the timelines.
Is
what we're complaining about. Like, hey, it's starting to branch out too much. Well, Kang is literally here to try and fix
He's
that.
Trying. He's like, I'm trying, guys.
Him and She-Hulk are going to team up and go
right.
after Kevin Feige.
And that will never happen, Dan. They will never make an original character to star as a hero or a villain.
Maybe Phase 12 or something.
They've got too many. It's too easy to go to the well and pull somebody out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I will.
I know
say,
it's the easy, safe choice.
Yeah.
I will say I feel
it
like
would be the exciting choice.
there's a trend in myself. I feel like I'm recognizing even from the phase 1 through 3 movies where like you're really hard on these movies sometimes out of the gate, and like every time I go back.
You're gonna come when it releases on Disney Plus in 3 or 4 months.
Exactly.
You're gonna watch it again, and you'll be like, I don't know what I was talking about.
I was talking about.
I'm gonna
It was
listen to
so
this
great.
episode and be like, I don't know what I was talking about. It was great.
Exactly. Like it's like I'm
gonna watch it 4 times this week.
And I also believe like how you feel on a day is sometimes how you feel about that movie that day.
Right.
Like you might just like I might have just been like
I shouldn't have watched it after work.
Yeah, exactly.
You
on a
know,
Monday.
On a Monday. Oh, case of the Mondays.
But I mean, I know people review bomb, but it's not like there was like a charged element of this movie that would have led people to do that. And there's clearly other people that felt meh about this or felt that this was bad in some way. I'm not saying it's bad by any means. I really wanted more.
Yeah.
And I think that you see that when you look, and online's going to go to the extremes. It always does.
Yeah.
But it's not like there's some, political shit or something in here that people are getting all, crazy about. Not that I saw anyway, to where people clearly were disappointed in some way. That, yeah, I mean, I just, man, maybe to your point, Andy, I just hyped it up myself too much and was too excited and went in and it was decent. And I felt negative on it because I wanted more. Like I wanted a Spider-Man, like event. I wanted it's such a roller coaster. Like, walked out of Wakanda Forever being like, wow, that was awesome. And then I come into this and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I know
But
I know what you mean. Like this, we heard about this movie 4 years ago.
I think the problem is they just make too good of a trailer.
Well, aren't you guys starting
It's
to lean?
too good.
Aren't you guys leaning toward like not watching these things anymore? Like especially like now, like I'm just like, I've been watching trailers like crazy because it's fun. I'm like, man, it's fun to watch these trailers.
Yeah.
But then you go into these movies and you're like, what movie is this?
Right. This is not what was marketed to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I got to stop. I'm not watching any of the featurettes or any of that stuff before.
Yeah.
It's usually just the teaser and the main trailer
just
now.
Get in there.
And then I'm done. But even those sold me a different movie than I bought.
Yeah. And also take the ratings out there like on anywhere.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomato.
It's like a 45.
So
or
is
something
Eternals, and
percent.
like Eternals one of my favorite, and Eternals is also like, kind of challenging like some big picture stuff. And like this movie
made
too.
Like an effort to be different.
And sometimes being different is what sets you into that like negative review stuff, so like sometimes when I see a low score, I'm like, this might be really good, All right, let's go ahead and do round table ratings. I'll go first and get it out of the way. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I saw it on a Monday night. Maybe I should have seen it on a Sunday or a Saturday. But I still had a really good time. Jonathan Majors is here. King is here. I want to see more Paul Rudd. I want to see Hope again. I want to see Cassie some more. This is a fun movie that when it's on Disney Plus, I'll rewatch it again and have a good time, I'm sure. For today, though, real life rating, real time, I'll give this a 3.1.
Oh, wow. I did not expect that.
I'm just being honest. Giggler!
I really thought you would have come lower than that.
No.
Yeah, look at that right there.
3.1. Tie.
We tied. 3.1 as well here.
Any final thoughts?
I said many bad things about it earlier, but I mean, honestly,
obviously we still landed
I'm
high,
easy as hell to please. Yes, I got you. But I mean, exactly. Not in my top 15 Marvels, but it's somewhere in the middle. Maybe even closer to the bottom, but damn, I had a great time, and I've just said that I'm going to go see it again, probably in a couple Tuesdays. This next Tuesday is already reserved for Cocaine Bear, so
Cocaine Bear, it's here already.
I already got my tickets. If anyone wants to join, let me know.
All right,
$5 Tuesday, which is now $7 Tuesday at Ronnie's.
Oh man, inflation hitting everybody.
Yep.
Scotty Scoop, final thoughts on a rating?
I really love Jonathan Majors. I can't wait to see more of him. Cassie. She'll be a young Avenger, for sure. I don't know that I need really anybody else, like we said. Hope was useless in this movie. I really wanted to see her do something more than she did. And it's really strange. I feel like I liked this movie more than you. But my rating is a 2.9.
Oh my gosh. What? All right, well but it's still really close.
Yeah,
we're
it's
still
close.
hovering around that middle ground Marvel movie.
Right.
You know,
I think it's right there in the middle. There's 30 plus.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're somewhere in the 15 to 20, 25 range.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it's later. I bet later it'd be higher.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And like you watch the Kang Dynasty, right, in 2 years,
and you're like, oh man,
like that's
what I needed. And you go back and you do your rewatch of 4 through 6, and you're like, man, it was such an underrated gem at the time.
Yeah, it's almost like a good chapter of a book. It's like if you just read that chapter on its own, you might not love it so much. But when you read it with the whole book,
right,
it's really good.
Something different.
Danny P, you're up. Take us home.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.8. I like it. That's a C plus, right? That's where I fell. I don't think it's terrible. I just was like, it's fine. Like, I had friends ask me, what'd you think? I'm like, it's a Marvel movie. It's not one of the special ones to me. Like if if you're gonna watch the rest of them though, you better go watch this one. So, like you won't have a bad time, but you're not gonna walk out of there like maybe you have some of the other kind of top ones, and that's what I was hoping for out of this.
All right, guys. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. There it is. A round table, ratings. I promised you some fun facts. I sprinkled them in a little bit as we went, but here's some more. Here's a couple for you as we head into coming up. Scott's Ant-Man suit was altered to include the classic chest pattern that was from the comics. Not sure if you noticed, Scotty.
Nope, not at all.
This is the second trilogy in the MCU to have the same director for all 3 films following Spider-Man films, 2017 to 2021. That was John Watts. This was
Peyton Reed.
Yep.
Liar.
Yeah, liar. At the beginning of his career, director Peyton Reed directed behind-the-scenes material for the Back to the Future franchise.
Nice.
You guys see where this is going? Do you guys remember this part in Quantumania?
Well, a couple of moments.
The pizza.
The pizza, yeah, the rehydrated pizza.
Yep, and
nice.
You sure know how to rehydrate a pizza.
Mom. Fruit, please. He said that was absolutely a nod to those movies.
100%.
And then we of course know that Cassie Lang was recast. The first person was Emma Furman in Avengers Endgame, and now Catherine Newton's in the role. And there was one more cool one here. Oh yeah, this was the first Ant-Man movie not co-written by Paul Rudd.
He's already too busy writing his book.
Yeah, I guess he had other stuff on his plate.
That's going to be very interesting. I'll let you guys borrow it when I'm done.
All right, guys. Yeah, I want to check it out. I actually probably will listen to the audiobook. I mean, Paul Rudd just talking. I'm sure. It's got to be hilarious.
Yeah,
you're probably right.
He was listening to his own book in the car.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's relatable.
Really funny.
Just like listen to our own podcast.
Exactly.
All right, guys. That's Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, the MCU. Always going to be a staple on this podcast. Go check it out at mostlysuperheroes.com/MCU, where you can find links to all the source material from the episode, all the fun facts that we brought up. Everything else is just there waiting for you. And with that, let's get into what's coming up.